Today, we're going to continue talking about performance anxiety, and this is part three of a series, so links to parts one and two are up there in the corner. If you get something out of this video today, please like and subscribe, and also I do offer some one-on-one coaching, so the links below is for that. Stick around. Cam here at No Pills, No Surgery, and we're going to continue talking about performance anxiety. So performance anxiety is, at its core, it's just fear. And for a lot of men, it can show itself in different ways. We've talked about some of those already, but the one we're going to focus on the most today is the fear of being left. So a lot of men think that if they're not great in bed and they don't make their partner come, the person's going to leave them and they're going to hurt them. So, and when I say hurt, I mean emotionally. So there's different ways to look at this problem, and I'm going to talk about two very different ways to look at it. And the first one is that a lot of times what we're afraid of is because we know that there's something, like if we're afraid that somebody's going to leave us, it's because we have something in our life going on that we're not proud of. And so the first thing that I'll say is, like, the easiest way to make that fear go away is to face the thing that you're not proud of. It could be things like drug or alcohol addiction. It could be like, having cheated in the past, or like done, a lot of different things, or not having a good enough job. And the truth is that there's some confidence things that there isn't just an easy, quick fix on how to take care of them. And so the best way to take care of them is to actually take care of them. If you are addicted to drugs, or you're addicted to alcohol or something like that, putting your energy into dealing with that problem before you enter into a relationship is a good idea, because relationships in general require effort and time. And there oftentimes isn't going to be an easy way to just make that problem go away, especially if if you think that you're just going to go have casual sex with somebody and, not have to deal with a fear like that, then there's not always, sometimes what we want and what actually works is not the same thing. And you have to look at that honestly. So one way to really deal with performance anxiety is to be a worthy person. And when I say be a worthy person, I'm not trying to tell you that you're not worthy or you're not good enough, but just be the kind of person that you want to be with. So if you are struggling with your finances, or you're doing a job that you're not proud of, like, how would you feel if you were with somebody that was going through those things? And I can tell you that I struggled with this a lot. I was not proud of the job I was doing, even though in our society it was considered to be a pretty prestigious job. For me, I needed something that was really deeply meaningful to me, and I was working on IT for a pretty major car manufacturer, and I was like, I made a lot of money, and when I told people about how my job, where I worked, people were like, "Oh, yeah." But for me, the way it felt for me didn't connect with me, and I was always kind of ashamed of that. And so I'm not necessarily telling you, like, you have to go out there and you have to be super successful in order to make this fear go away. No, it isn't about that. Everybody has things in their life that are important to them. And the important thing for you is to find out how to make the way you live your life match with what's important to you. So if you are, like, a good example, if you were a vegetarian and you were really against the slaughter of animals, but you work at a meat packing plant, there may be a conflict there that has, that's gnawing at you, or, whatever it is. Or if you just, you just aren't proud of what you do, or you don't earn enough money and you're afraid that you're not going to be able to provide for someone. So these are all things that can seep into our fears. And you may not realize when you're having sex with somebody that that's what's coming up, because it doesn't seem like they'd be connected. But you have to look at, when you're dealing with a performance anxiety problem or an erectile dysfunction problem or any major problem in your life, you can't isolate it to just that area. Anything that affects one part of your life will affect all of your life. And so looking at your life as a whole is a much more healthy way to deal with your problems. So the next thing I'll say is take care of your body. This means different things to different people, but if you're insecure about taking your shirt off in front of somebody, or you're insecure about being naked in front of them, There's things that you can control and things that you can't. You're not going to have a lot of control over how big your dick is. Maybe there's programs out there that helps with that. I don't know. That's not my thing, but there are things that you have direct control over. If you are a couple 100 pounds overweight, you're going to definitely have more insecurity around your body than most people. And I'm not trying to fat shame anyone. I don't, it's your relationship with your body, but the thing to pay attention to is, how do you feel when you look in the mirror? And to some degree, you can mitigate that by changing the stories in your mind, but the other ways to deal with it are just to take care of your body in a way that you feel good about. And once again, this comes down to like, what would you want from the person that you're having sex with? If you want to have sex with people who are like super fit and in shape, and you're not fit and in shape, chances are there's going to be some part of you that's going to feel insecure about that, and it's always going to push them away a little bit. So if you want to be in shape, if you want to have sex with people who are really in shape, then it would be helpful to be in shape. If that's not a big deal to you and you're okay with people who aren't quite in good of shape, then you're probably going to have a lot less anxiety about having sex with people if you're not in good shape. So once again, just kind of be the person that you want. Be the worthy person that you want. And the next thing I'll say is that this one, it doesn't feel as connected to most people that that would tie into performance anxiety, but it absolutely does. Doing things that you're passionate about or doing things that are meaningful to you is really, really important for the type of confidence that you need to overcome performance anxiety and erectile dysfunction. So a couple reasons. One of them is just that when you do something that's really like that you just love, there's a spark that happens in your life. It's not something that's tangible or measurable, but if you look at people who do things that they love, you can watch a video of somebody talking about what they do. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be accounting, it could be whatever. It doesn't have to be some big thing where you're super successful. Like, it could be knitting, but when you find somebody who's talking about something that they love, there's just an easiness to it. Like, you can just feel what it's like to be around. Like, you can feel it's more pleasant to be around them. Most of us would rather listen to somebody talk about something they're really passionate about than to talk about something and complain. And we all know what it's like to be around somebody who complains. And this isn't about complaining. It's about being able to find that in yourself. Like, find out, what can I do that will bring me joy? And when there's another part to this, though, is that not only does that make you feel alive, but when you don't do those things, if you're something that you really like, whether it's like, I don't know, playing soccer or, I don't know, starting a business, whatever it is, when you don't do those things, it tends to weigh on you because your mind takes up space doing it, and it actually kills your confidence. You're repeatedly training yourself when you don't do something that you care about, that you're not capable of doing it, and that just makes you feel like shit. And other people can tell that when they're around you. And I can tell you that when you're at a point where you're really vulnerable, when you're getting naked with someone, especially someone naked, you're being naked with them for the first time, all of your insecurities and shit come out at that time. That is the time when you're the most vulnerable. So as much as you don't think about how starting that project that you've wanted to start hasn't panned out, it is definitely, definitely killing your confidence, and it's causing more anxiety when you don't need to. The next thing I want to talk about is emotions. So in general, sex has a lot of emotion involved in it. And in our culture, we don't talk about that. We don't really think about that. And that's not really what we're taught about sex. Once again, this is another thing that we learn from porn, is that two people come together, they have sex, the woman has sex with the pizza guy and he leaves. And, a lot of men I deal with, the first thing that they talk to me about when they do a call with me is they're like, are you going to teach me how to have casual sex? And I always tell them no, because that's not what I do. You can take the things that I teach you, and then you can after you overcome this problem, have casual sex. But when you're suffering with erectile dysfunction or you're suffering with performance anxiety, casual sex is not the right thing for you at that time. It doesn't mean you can't ever have it, but when you're dealing with a situation where you feel afraid, you need to do as much as possible to make yourself feel safe. And safety often comes from feeling supported and loved and cared for. And so part of that journey is about learning to feel your own emotions. Like being able to tell that you're scared, as weird as it is, a lot of men will be like, oh, I have performance anxiety. And I'll be like, okay, well, how does that show up in your life? They'll be like, okay, well, I can't get hard or I lose my boner. And I'm like, okay, well, what does your body feel like when that's happening? And they're confused. Well, emotions happen in your body. When you're feeling an emotion, it is a physical experience that happens in your body. And if you can't tell me where anger happens in your body or what it feels like to be angry in your body, it's because you're stuck in your mind. And so part of dealing with this and is learning to feel your emotions. So when you're feeling pissed off or you're feeling anxious or when you're trying to have sex or even the thought of having sex with someone, when you have this performance anxiety, what does it feel like? I can tell you, one of the first places I was able to start feeling performance anxiety, I felt it right here. For whatever reason, this area of my body would tense up and it felt like there was a rock in my throat. I also felt like my face was being squeezed. It often felt like I was being choked. It felt like there was tension in my hips. These are all physical experiences of what was happening to me when I noticed performance anxiety. And so if you can train yourself to start feeling these emotions, and all you have to do to feel them is pay attention to them. Next time you're pissed off, just pay attention to your body. Okay, is my arm angry? I don't know. Is my chest angry? Is my stomach angry? Where do I feel angry? I know I'm angry because I'm thinking about how I want to hurt this person. But where do I feel it in my body? And the more that you learn to feel those emotions, the more that they become, the less control over you they have. And so this is also important because I talk about how you should be with a person that you want to be with, you should be the person that you want to be with. Like you want to be with people who are also in touch with their own emotions because then they're not controlled by them. And it's a much easier to have those types of experiences that are going to be pleasant for you. And so, okay, this is the first way that you can deal with this from this standpoint. Now I'm going to go the complete opposite direction. And so I think that most men, all the help that I've just given, it can be very useful. But I want to go the complete opposite direction. And then I think most men are dealing with a couple of these or one of these, maybe a few of them. But the other thing is that you just need to sometimes recognize the things that you're doing well. A lot of men are insecure and have performance anxiety about these things because they think that they're not good enough, or they don't think that they're lovable, or they just don't fucking give themselves enough credit. And sex it's an important part of relationships, but I can tell you that when you're not having sex, sex is way more important than when you're having sex. I can tell you that I've been with my partner for almost 2 years, and we have a fantastic sex life. But as much as I enjoy my sex life with her, that is one of the least important aspects of our relationship. Relationships have so much more depth to them. If all we had was a good sex life, I wouldn't be with her, and she wouldn't be with me. Relationships are a lot more complicated than that. People want to be with each other because they like the person. And so a lot of the fear that can come up during ED is just not giving yourself credit for how good of a person you actually are, and realizing that somebody can want to be with you for a reason other than giving them 10 orgasms every time you have sex. And when you start to pay attention to that and you say, okay, well, I'm funny and I'm really good at making people feel comfortable, or I'm really good at writing code, or I have this really cool way that I live my life. Like you start experiencing things like that, like in a way where you give yourself credit for them. A lot of the performance anxiety starts to go away on its own. And then you can also, when you start to be honest with yourself in that way, it's like being honest about what's not working, but you have to also be honest about what works. What are you good at? Why is this person wanting to have sex with you to begin with? And when you start to do that, you just relax some, and that some of the fear just starts to dissipate. And what you're looking for right now is just as many ways as possible that you can approach making this fear diminish. But you have to understand, the fear is there for a reason. It's there to teach you something about yourself. So learn from it and do your best to help take that on as a project and um, a way to deal with treating yourself in a way that's healthier and happier and is going to leave you with benefits that come outside of the bedroom too. So thanks for watching, guys. If you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. And I also do help men through this process. So if you're struggling with performance anxiety or erectile dysfunction, those are two things I deal with a lot. You can get a hold of me. My website's down below, and I do some one-on-one coaching. So stick around and have a good day.